Susan Finch, your host for All Volunteer, All Heart from Binky Patrol. And today, as part of our Mr. Ballen series, I recently met through a town hall meeting, the Mr. Ballen town hall meeting, Susie Vybiral. And it was a perfect match because Susie's organization is roomredux.org, which is ROOMREDUX.org. And what they do is they transform living, sleeping spaces for victims of violent crimes into something that is welcoming, nurturing, and is their own, and gets rid of all the yuck that was there before. And I know that's a very simplified version of what you do, Susie, but did I get it right?
You got it almost exactly right. I will correct you. It's Room Redux.
It is Redux. Okay.
Yeah, it's REDUX, Redux,
Okay.
and which is a transurgence, revitalization, coming back. So that's how we got that name. But yeah, in a nutshell, we transform the rooms and lives of children who have faced sexual and physical abuse, trauma, violent crimes, sextortion, all of those things. We transform their rooms. We do this anonymously so the children never see us, and we do this in one day.
Wow.
Yes, yes. And the reason I love Binky Patrol is because I love, love, love to put original art in these room transformations, whether that is a painting that you hang on the wall or something that's made out of clay or a blanket or an Afghan. All of those are original art, something specific and special for that child. I love that.
When I learned about you through the Mr. Ballen Foundation, what a perfect match, because that is what we want to do. We want to give these kids that reminder that they are seen, respected, loved, deserve love, and have support, people that, have their back. And I want them to have those reminders. And what you do is exactly that as well.
Right. People always say, "Oh, are they going back to the room where abuse occurred?" Sometimes they are. Sometimes they can't afford to leave.
Exactly.
But since we get our referrals from counselors, psychologists, law enforcement, FBI, CPS, different agencies, we know that the outcry's been made, the perpetrator is out of the picture, and so that abuser is nowhere in the house. So whether it is a house that they're going back to where abuse occurred, or it's a different house, or maybe the abuse happened somewhere else, we want these children to know that they are loved and cared about by people who don't even know them and who expect nothing from them.
Right.
Hopefully on the big longitudinal spectrum, hopefully they start to realize that the world is not always such a scary place. They don't have to do mean things and perpetrate against other people because of what happened to them. And hopefully it helps stop the cycle of abuse.
So how long ago did you start this?
I always say covertly 2017, didn't have a name, just transformed 2 rooms in one house. 2018 transformed 3 rooms, came up with the name. Officially with the IRS, it was 2019, and that's when we got bored and started just, I don't shut up about Room Redux, and so that's where we started to explode.
That's fantastic. That's what you want. That's the board you need.
Yes, exactly. So about 6 years, I'd say, officially.
Okay. Oh, I just love this. So how many rooms have you transformed?
To date, it is 365 rooms. Wow. Yes, and that's across the nation because we have chapters in other cities and other states. And actually, we just, I think it was last month, we transformed 19 rooms in one facility. It's a facility for girls. They live there, they go to school there. So we transformed those rooms, and then we're going to do, I think it's 8 more on the 20th in a different building on that same campus. But usually it's in homes. But sometimes, like I said, we collaborate with facilities. And so that number of actual children and families that we're helping is probably upwards to 5,000, 6,000, because so many children come through those facilities. But it's part of that collaboration, which I love, which is why I love us, because we can collaborate. I always say I love our mission, transforming the lives of children who have faced unfathomable things. But collaboration is that close second, because it takes all of us to help children, to help people around the world.
I love that you talked about the families and bringing that into it. It isn't just, and we learned this too with the blankets, it isn't just the person who receives the thing. it's so, it just has these beautiful tendrils or petals coming off of it, that it's the person who helped with the room, the person, the company that helped finance the room, the family that sees their child finally at ease again in a home, because they are also most likely recovering from trauma, because it is trauma to remove somebody from your home. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's a sibling, whatever it is, getting them out. It might even be another child, and you don't know, but that's trauma in itself. So to create this sanctuary space in the home for
Ab-
healing.
Absolutely. And these parents or these caregivers, they realize, I'm not alone. I have advocates. Because when we talk about collaboration and a holistic approach, I just got back from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was at a human trafficking conference where a whole bunch of us come from all over, and there are people who are on the tech and the data side that are finding out where the traffickers are, finding the children. There's law enforcement that's out there, boots on the ground, recovering children, and there are counselors, and there are people that do what we do in the after part, after the outcry's been made and the child is safe. And so that holistic method of all of us helping children, I feel it's crucial for us really to make this impact that we're working on making.
It is. And I'm glad that you post the rooms. We don't ever need to show the befores for these kids, but to show what's possible, because I like triggering ideas in people's minds that,
Oh yeah, love
oh,
it.
they do that. Oh, I could have contributed to that. I could have helped with that. I'm looking at that modern room that you had that was black and white and red with
Yes.
all the art that was juxtapositioned on the walls, and how cool and modern and sleek that room is.
I remember that one. It was black and red. I think it was our one, two, three, four, fifth room transformation. And I guess the first 70 or so I designed, and I've designed some since then, but our executive directors of the chapters, they're all volunteers. They do the designing or they have someone do it now. But I remember designing that one and thinking, you can see I like bright colors and orange and blues and happy colors. And this boy liked black and red. His art was very sad, a lot of bleeding eyes and
Yeah,
very, it was not happy art that he was putting
right.
in his room, but we incorporated his own art because he was proud of it. But what we found is, because we keep in touch with the parents or caregivers 3 months, 6 months, a year, if they want to connect with us, we still talk to them and find out how the child or the children are doing. And we found that the children are sleeping in their rooms now because they feel like it's a safe space. They're not scared. They are having friends over. They're doing better in school. They're participating socially, and their art starts to change. And it doesn't always mean
Oh,
that it's sunshine and rainbows and
no.
butterflies, but it's not self mutilation or vulgar or scary art. It's starting to change, which I think that's fascinating from a
That
psychological point of
is.
view.
And that they are letting that out. What a way to
Yes.
track things. I've done that with artists before. I had an art gallery years and years ago.
Ooh,
And there are times when I knew when an artist was going through something. It's like, ooh, maybe we
yeah.
need to take a pause for a bit.
Right, right. Have you
You know,
talked to yeah.
yeah.
You never
And
know.
then come, maybe you can work through, or you got something going on, you want to talk. But, and it would happen. It only happened like 3 or 4 times that that happened, but it was really interesting that you can see it in people's art. But I love the license plates in that room too. There's one whole wall, folks, that is just license plates, colorful license plates from everywhere, all over the wall. And so that gives it texture and more graphic elements that go with his style. And I,
He was trying to collect them, and I think he had three. And so I went on, I think it was eBay at the time, and it's actually his headboard. We created this giant,
that's what you're right. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, of course you're
yeah.
right. You did the room, but now I'm seeing it. Yes.
Yeah, it was heavy, but it has all 50 states on it. It was really neat. That's the way to collect.
That is, put the word out there. Get a little bit of
But
help.
the way we find that out is because when we go assess a room, once we've gotten a referral, we get the yes from the counselor, the agency, and the parent or caregiver. We go assess the room when the child's not there, and we find out what colors does she love, what colors does she hate, what is he into, what would they like in the room, all of these different things. We even tell them in between the time of planning, designing, and shopping for the room, don't tell them about it. We would love for it to be a surprise unless that child is very adverse to change. Maybe there's some
Right.
autism, something like that. And then only tell them the week of, because
Yeah.
is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? But we find out all these things, and I'll say, even look on Pinterest. Maybe get together one night and y'all just go through, gosh, if you could have any room you like, what would you like? We based one room transformation. It was called Moxie, and it was based off a movie called Moxie. And I did my homework. I watched a teenager movie, but I watched it, and we did the girls' room, just like the girls' room in the movie. So that was pretty neat.
Oh, that is very cool.
Yeah.
I think you brought a memory back for me, a book that I didn't have many books when I was a kid. We had very few books. And I don't know why, but we didn't. But my mom read to me, my siblings read to me. But there was one book that I think my sister-in-law got for me, my future sister-in-law, who is my sister-in-law of more than 50 years now. And it was Beauty and the Beast. But it was the one by Maurice Deschamps. The illustrations are unlike anything I've ever seen. And my sister recreated some of the elements from that book in our room
Ooh.
and drew these beautiful peacocks and things that were in the book in Beauty's suite. It
Mhm.
was a centerpiece. It was the centerfold of the book and the colors and everything. And I thought, if I ever redid our bedroom in something different than what we have, because right now we have blackout curtains and stuff, because in Oregon you have to have blackout curtains because otherwise the light comes in at 3 a.m.
Oh gosh.
Waking up with the sun. But if I could redo it, I would redo it like Beauty's Suite. And I
Well,
just thought of that, of how magical that would be.
you still can, Susan. You're never too old to do whatever the heck you want. And speaking of Beauty and the Beast, you need to check out Belle of the Ball. That is one of our room transformations. It was for a 16-year-old girl, and she had just had her quinceañera, and she dressed in a giant yellow dress. Loved Beauty and the Beast. So we transformed her room, and sexual abuse had happened in her room. So one thing that we made sure to pay attention to was the ceiling. People forget about the ceiling. You can imagine lying
Yeah,
there. If sexual abuse happens in the room, they're just facing up a lot of.
right.
We wanted to change that. So we painted the entire room blue, including the ceiling. We spray painted a bunch of picture frames. I laid on the floor and told volunteers where to attach them to the ceiling. So I have 365 favorite room transformations. That one is one that really sticks out. I always put it in my presentations because it is a dramatic before. We do show the befores and afters. You just will never see any pictures of the family or children
Of
or names
course.
or anything like that. But it's really magnificent. I think you'll love it.
Oh,
I'll
I
send
want
it
to
to you.
see that. I would like to see all of them actually, because it, to me, it is magic what you do. It's heartfelt, beautifully guided magic
It
that a lot of
is.
people are involved in. So let's talk about your chapters. Binky Patrol has chapters. You guys have chapters. You have chapters. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have about a dozen chapters. So tell me about, is it interior designers that are in your chapters, or who's in the chapters?
What I always say is if you or someone you know would like to start a chapter in your area, let me know. And that's usually how the chapters are formed. And like I said, they're volunteers. So the number of chapters ebbs and flows. Some people
Yeah,
drop
I
off,
know that. Yeah.
they get too busy, things like
Yeah.
that, and then new ones pop up. But wonderful people run these chapters. And I always say you can be the executive director, you can have a co-director, and you can also have an advisory council. So we have one board of directors. We have one 501c3. We're all under this one
Right.
umbrella.
Right.
But if you were to start a chapter, you could, let's say you don't like to decorate. You could find someone, a friend, an associate who does like to do that and add them to your team. You can add someone who likes to do social media, someone who's good at event planning so that you can raise funds for your own chapter.
Exactly. That's exactly how we do it.
Is
And
it?
it is. So for us, it's
Confirmation.
one board, one bank account, because no cash, because no, it's too hard to verify everything and things happen and people count wrong. So everything is, for us, is accountable. And our chapters, we let them, I said, you can start a chapter by yourself. I would ideally say that you have a delivery team, a marketing person, your chapter report person, and your cheerleader. And you can be the cheerleader to get more volunteers and work with the social media person that will get. So ideally, you would have 4 people helping you with these jobs. And then from there, you can get more people. And I've found that 4 is a great number to run a chapter because that's how it gets divided up by duties. And then you can get the worker bee people, the regular volunteers that come in, the everyday volunteers or the project volunteers when you have it. But I would think it's very similar needs for you guys. That is what you need. Now, I don't know, are your chapters ours are all 100% volunteer?
Yes. So I tell executive directors, I got this approved by the board, that executive directors can, if they need to, take a small percentage of what they bring in. So if they have a gala and they raise $10,000, they can take a small percentage of that if they need it, because I think they're doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. What if there is a single mom who really needs some help, or
It's a lot of
something like
time.
that? Yeah.
It is a lot of time. So yeah, ours are all volunteer and they do raise their own money. We teach them how to do that through community grants, through corporations. Like we have an auto dealership here that just donated $500. We have different small business people want to get involved in the community. And then we take 20% for national. And then we earmark 80% for them, for their chapter. So then if they spend money, they submit a reimbursement form because they know how much they have. They submit the reimbursement form electronically. They mail in the original receipts. And then we send, usually within 12 to 24 hours, I send them an e-check to reimburse them. So we don't have to mail anything. They don't have to wait. And it's just done. And yeah, I review. Okay, well, hey, once in a while it's like, why did you spend so much on printing? If you planned it better, it would have been a third that cost. And so it also enables me to go check and see how is that going to be done. And then so that's our reimbursement. And then for our chapters, they do a quarterly chapter report as well. Even if they don't do anything, I just want them to check in because we have about 60 to 80 chapters at any time. So I need them to just check in, even if it's 0. But let me know you're still available if somebody contacted you. Let me know you respond to emails. Let me know you pick up the phone.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's about how we do it. And it makes it easier for us to do taxes and everything else at the end of the year. Those forms, we export it, put it into QuickBooks. I give it to somebody else to put it in QuickBooks.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, how many Binkies have you distributed?
And it's one of those, I don't know. It's been 30 years, almost 30 years. And we have fluctuated with chapters quite a bit. And sometimes we get people that'll make blankets in the name of Binky Patrol and deliver them locally or something. So it's hard. And our school will maybe do 50 and we don't know. And they deliver them locally. They'll have a project. So I don't know. We're actually thinking it's around 1 million, probably. That's a lot. I don't know. And that's being honest. Because so many people will make blankets and say, oh, I made some and I deliver them locally. Thank you. Or can you send me some labels and I'll deliver them? It's like, sure. They're not asking for reimbursement. They're not asking for anything. They just want to make them, be part of Binky Patrol and deliver them. And so, okay, go do that. And sometimes I get a receipt, sometimes I don't. So we do our best trying to figure out what the numbers are. But we're right in that range. But we don't have quotas. There are other blanket making organizations. They have quotas. They have fundraising quotas. They have all these different things. And it's just not who we are. There's nobody paid on our staff. And so we do what we can. And we pay our CPA. And we pay those kinds of things.
One that's worth it.
It is worth it because I don't want to have to do that part. It's not fun. But my time is better spent not fixing blankets that weren't done right, but talking to the chapter leaders, trying to get more volunteers, brainstorming with the leaders to find out, like we did the last weekend, where we all visited and okay, where are we missing this? How are we losing volunteers and people aren't coming on board? And I was visiting with, and let me know if you think this is true. I was visiting with my son and his girlfriend. They're 20. And they said, you know what? We just forget volunteering is a thing now that we're not in high school. It's not that we don't want to. We just forget.
Huh.
And we forget that it can be a fun, easy thing.
They don't need hours. They don't need.
So they just forget to do it or make room for it. not realizing how important. So to make them, to find a way to address that, reach out to that audience that, just because you don't need the hours, we still need you.
Right.
And these
Social media.
kids,
Social
I
media.
know, but that's where I am. That's where I'm
Instagram.
short. Yeah, I need a person just for that, and I don't have that right now. So that's one of the things I'm working on.
Ditto. It's hard work keeping up. I was at that conference all last week. I haven't posted any pictures yet. It's overwhelming because I have so
It
many.
is.
I don't want the personal ones. I need I could put the personal ones. Ah!
Yeah. No, it took me a week after we got home. I had to just kind of sit with it and
And
decide
that's you've got to do it on LinkedIn and you've got to do it on Instagram and Facebook. All of them.
right. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a
Yep.
lot.
Yeah. So I'm on the search for somebody to help us with social media for that reason. I can give you stuff to post. I just don't have the time to schedule. I have the tools to schedule it. Mm-hmm. You can use Social Pilot through me, through my account. Binky's in there. You can go in there and you can schedule everything. Okay. I do not have the time. Zoe's already doing stuff for my regular business. And I said, if you have extra time, she says, once we get caught up, let's make money first. I said, okay. And then, and that's what happens though. It's like, I got to make money to do this. It's not, because otherwise I'm making money for Binky Patrol that I'm going to pay myself. And I don't fault executive directors and things that need to make money, because that is how you focus and grow. And if you don't, you can't put that same kind of effort into it. So I respect that. It's just, for me, from day one, it was a commitment I made. It's actually a commitment I made to God.
Nice.
Always going to be volunteer, 100%. And so it's just a no-go on any other option. So I'm trying to get caught up, and then I'll pay somebody to do it for my business. That's fine. So if I make enough money, I can pay people to go do Binky stuff.
Well, there you go.
Which would be good. That works out fine. That works out just fine. Growing. What are your goals? We went down this rabbit hole now of all these operations thing. But what do you see 1 year, 2 year, 3 year for growth?
I've always expected Room Redux to be in every city, every state, every country eventually, because 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused. Sex extortion is out of control. Everything is just out of control. It's a different world we live in. If you have one of these, if a child has one of these in their room, the world is in their room. So that's my intention. And I always tell volunteers, board members, donors, sponsors, anybody, I say, you're not asking for money for these room transformations. You're actually giving people the opportunity to transform a child's life. And when you flip that script and you look at it that way, it makes it a lot easier, because some people will say, how do I say it? I'm afraid to ask. Or you're not asking for yourself. You're not asking, you're giving the opportunity. So I give as many people the opportunity to help transform children's lives as possible. I will talk to anyone. I believe we can collaborate with anyone in any form or fashion, almost, unless it's sexual nature. I'm not going to collaborate probably with something like that.
Yeah.
But any other, realtors. We have locally in New Braunfels, Texas, where I live, CertaPro painters. I think they're national. They're a painting service, but they work with Sherwin-Williams. So I can go in and ask them to put the paint that we need for this child's room on their account. That's how they donate. We always need paint. It's fabulous. Right. Always working to try to find.
Paint's one of the least expensive things to do too.
Yeah, and it's such a great transformation. Continually working to try to find a mattress company that will collaborate with us. We get wholesale, but to really be able to get those donated, that would keep, because we always give children new beds, new mattresses, even
beautiful new sheets and pillowcases, all of it.
Lighting.
So do you have a basic range for what the 2 rooms I'm looking at on your website, the black, white, and red one, and then the cute one with the netting over it, the blues and the guitars on the wall, a range of, so if people are saying, what if I just contributed to a room? What does it take approximately?
Room transformations usually range anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500 now. Okay. I used to say $1,500 to $2,000, but it's about $2,500 per room transformation.
Wow. Okay. That's paint. That's everything?
Yes. Lighting, bedding, tchotchkes to put on the walls. But what we often do, I love when businesses sponsor and when they're able to come volunteer also, because that's great
Yes.
advertising for them. I am going to always go to that business. I personally, if a business does not give back in some way, and it doesn't even have to be Room Redux, I'm probably not going to go to them. I'm probably not going to buy from them or use their services. I like people who are very giving, and there are a lot of them out there. There really are.
Sure.
So we do that where they can sponsor a room or even co-sponsor with another business. I think that's fun. Or also, we have Amazon registry lists. So once we know exactly what the design is going to look like, what's going to go in that room, we can get things off of Amazon, make a registry. And then let's say you don't want to donate $200, but you can go on the registry and you can buy that bedding. And you know that
Yes.
bedding is going in exactly into that room. That's always fun.
I love that's a brilliant idea.
It's super cool because they're buying exactly what we know needs to go in that room according to the
Right.
design. And they know they're giving that way.
So the before and after, I know that you protect everybody's privacy and you don't want to give away the families, their location, or anything like that. It's okay though to show the before and after because nobody's going to see that room except for that family anyway. So
Exactly.
so to allow these sponsors to get worked up to see what they have done and to share it in their internal things on their social media, that's okay, correct?
Yes. And it's always such a dramatic, beautiful change. And we go so far as to remove the metadata. So there's no location on pictures. If you come to a room transformation, I'm the only one taking the pictures. Unless I have a designated person or a professional photographer, no one else gets to take pictures. One time we transformed 7 rooms for 6 children. It was in Uvalde. It was the year
Oh
after.
yeah.
One of the rooms was a school room because they're homeschooled now. One was a bathroom, but it was an FBI referral, and we had a bunch of FBI agents there. And
Oh,
I had to tell an FBI agent. I saw him taking a picture of his own child painting or something. I said, "You're gonna have to delete that." He said, "But it's of my own child." I said, "Yeah, but you're not the designated photographer, and you have the metadata, and maybe you know how to take it off, maybe you don't, but I need you to delete it." I said,
right.
"I'll take the picture and I'll send it to you." But that's how careful we are because we
I
don't want
love
anyone
that.
knowing the location of these vulnerable
And you just
children.
schooled an FBI agent. That's hilarious.
Boom. I love the FBI, by the way. I'm a big fan, but yes, that was fun.
That is so interesting because I work with a large group of realtors and they have their own charity right now. But I think about real estate agents that are in the community, and that is exactly what they do is give people homes. And maybe it's somebody in their neighborhood. Maybe it's not somebody's going to buy or sell a house. Maybe it's not. What do you do with rentals? How do you deal with a rental property?
It's easy. We transform those
You
too.
can
A
do
lot of
those too.
times, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll say we can't paint, but there are always workarounds. There was a time we couldn't paint, so I put fabric on the wall on
Exactly.
one wall.
My aunt did that once and she put sheets.
Or decals. Those peel
Yes.
off. Those are easy. So things like that. And there have been times too, as I mentioned, families start to realize that they have advocates. Still, even after all of the people that help them along this
Right.
process, we have a form that we'll get a landlord to sign as well. That
Yes.
so they don't withhold their deposit. They approve of the changes that we're making, and they don't hold either of us liable. We had a single mom. She was pregnant. She had her baby 2 days after the room transformation, and she lived in this the upstairs of a home with her mother. So it was the grandma and 4 children, five children. There were 6 children total, and they had gone all weekend with no air conditioning because the landlord thought it was too expensive and waited till Monday. And then their water wasn't working properly. All these different kind of things. So I sat down with the landlord and I had her sign all of these things, including she's going to take care of this home for these people. And I think it woke her up. Oh, I can't take advantage of these people anymore because there are people involved, people
Watching.
watching, people that care.
And that aren't afraid to stand up for them.
Yes, exactly.
Because
Yeah,
that is what happens in a lot of those situations. They are living in fear and they don't know how to not live in fear. They that first step was to advocate to get the abuser out or help heal from that, but it's a long pattern of behavior that's
right.
hard it's hard to change.
These people are incredibly brave. They really are. The children are, their parents. Yeah. It
Yeah.
takes a lot to get out of situations like that, especially if you're alone.
Oh, yeah. All right. So I see on your website, again, folks, it is Room Redux, REDUX.org. There is a way, get involved, open volunteer positions, refer a candidate. Maybe you know somebody that's healing. Maybe, it's somebody that you've just heard of, or from church, or from your kid's school, somebody in your family. And you guys can't all do it for them and you need help. Look and see where the chapters are. And if you are in those areas, they're going to add new chapters, but we know that these needs are usually immediate when you need it. It's not, oh, in 3 years, if they ever get a chapter there, I'll do it. That's not the same. So look at where the chapters are and think about the people you know. Maybe there are people you know that know people in those communities that know somebody that's hurting, that's trying to heal, that could really use a transformation in their life. And while you're at it, let Binky Patrol know too, because we'll get you a blanket. We'll get you something. How many that apply, what's the percentage right now of who gets a room transformed, Susie?
I would say everybody because I don't ever say no. In fact, we don't have a chapter right now in Oklahoma. I was there in Tulsa last week, but earlier this year, I was in New York speaking at Pace University at a trafficking conference, and someone from Oklahoma saw me, reached out to me, and said, "We have a school that needs a hope center, a place where children can go and decompress and maybe wear headphones or
Oh,
have just a place where they're overwhelmed and they need this room. And is there a chapter here? No, there's not. Do you think you could do the room? Well, I'm the final say on where and if we do rooms, and I'm not going to say no. So now we're talking about doing that. And in September, I'm going to Ontario, Canada, because someone heard me speak and hey, let's get you up here with law enforcement and see what we can do here.
wow.
Big things on the horizon, and the only reason we would say no would be if it were a foster type situation, because then I'm just coming and fixing up a room in your house if the child's not going to stay there.
Right,
If it's a foster to adopt and we know that, then yes, we will do that. If even if it's a kinship type placement, if they put a child with grandma or mom's cousin or something like that, we would do that too because it's family and they'll be back
right.
and they can take their things. And so
But straight foster's tough. So send them we can at least try and get them a blanket that fits
yes,
their theme and what they like. And I'll
even
put that out there to our chapters and see, hey, can any of you guys do this?
I love that. I'm so
So
excited about our collaboration and also
I
Mr. Ballen Foundation. Woohoo!
I know. Shout out to Mr. Ballen Foundation once again connecting all of us to where we can have events. You
I
heard
love it.
that. They said we could have events, collaborative events, and they're going to help us with those. So what could we do?
We
Is
brainstorm
there
big time.
Yeah, we'll have to do that because if there's like a big project that's coming up, we could put the word out, put that effort into coming up with opportunities, hitting the quilt guilds, hitting all the other guilds to say, hey, we need help. This is what we're doing.
Love it. Let's
Oh,
get on it.
I know. I'm ready.
So many possibilities.
Man, our time has flown. So I'm going to wrap this up. And folks, you can go to any of your favorite podcast apps and find us, All Volunteer, All Heart from Binky Patrol. You can go to binkypatrol.show for all the replays. And we'll get stuff out on social media at some point. But I'm sure Susie's group will get things out before I do. It's like a race. And remember to find her, go to Room Redux. That's ROOMREDUX.org and learn how you can get involved. So get involved with them, get involved with us. We're going to be working together. Our whole goal
Yes.
is to help these kids recover, thrive, and to know that they are loved and worthy of love. So thank you for tuning in.